Welcome to Peaceful Gathering Star Garden Block of the Month. My name is Kathy and I'm excited to be working with you over these next 7 months to complete this quilt designed by Norma Whaley of Timeless Traditions. Since we're meeting virtually, each month I'll be preparing a short video like this one to go over the steps that you'll need each month. In addition, I'll be emailing you a newsletter to go over those steps as well. And lastly, we'll schedule a monthly Zoom meeting. We'd love for you to share the progress that you've made on your quilt or to go over any questions that you may be having. During the first week of June, you'll be receiving your first kit. It will look something like this, and in the kit you'll find your pattern for the entire quilt. Your pattern is 3 pages long, front and back, and it also includes the templates that we'll be using on this particular quilt. In addition to the pattern, you're going to be receiving your background fabrics, the light and the dark background fabrics for the 4 center blocks, and the light fabric is also going to be used for the 4 outer corners. In addition to that, you're going to be receiving these 8 red fabrics along with 8 brown fabrics, and these will be used to construct the stars that are in the center of each of those squares that we'll be working on during the first month. So what we're going to work on first of all are the center squares. The directions call for you to cut 20.5-inch squares for each of those, for these 3 sections. You'll be cutting 2 of the light, 1 of the dark, and then here in this square we have a combination of the light and the dark fabrics. The directions call for a 20.5-inch finished square. I went ahead and cut mine at 21.5 since it is an applique, in case it does shrink up a little bit. And then once I was done with my entire square, I went ahead and squared that up to the 20.5 inches, and I'll remind you to do that later on. In addition, I know some people weren't crazy about the combination of fabrics for this 4th block over here. If you decide that you would like to do both of these squares dark, there's plenty of material in the kit to do that. So you'll be starting by cutting those 4 inside blocks and then setting aside the remaining light fabric for the outer blocks. The last steps that we'll be working on today are steps 3 and 4, which will be to make 8 stars that we can applique to the top of our quilt. To begin, what I did was separated my brown and red fabrics into pairs like this. This is the order that I put mine in. Feel free to mix and match however you feel. To make the star points, you'll need a template to do that. The templates are included with your pattern. What we'll be doing is we'll be making 64 of the star points. There'll be 32 red and there will be 32 brown star points. There are 4 red star points and 4 brown star points in each star. The next step is to make the templates for these stars. There are 4 red stars, star points for each block and 4 brown star points for each block. I used Kim Deal's Best Freezer paper. I've used this over the years and have had really good luck with it. It's a little bit sturdier, a little bit thicker than traditional freezer paper that you would get at the grocery store. We do carry this in the shop. If you're interested, you can give Katie a call or you can email the shop. Now, since there are 8 star points for each of the blocks, and there are 8 of them. You're going to need 64 star points. There will be 32 red and there will be 32 brown. The directions say cut 32 points to make 8 stars, but that's not correct. It should be 64 points. All right. So the best way to do this, I needed 4 sheets of the freezer paper. You can make 17 points on each sheet. And what you'll need to do is measure down 1.5 inch increments. Once you've got this 1.5 inch measured, just keep measuring down the page an 1.5 inch. What you're going to want to do next is take your ruler and put it at a 45-degree angle, and you'll draw the one line and then move forward at that same angle 1.5 inch across this way of your sheet, and then turn it around and do this again. Now I did use my rotary cutter for this particular step. I did have an older blade that I do keep aside for this particular purpose, so you may want to give that a try. All right, now comes the fun. What you want to do is you'll want to take each of your cut templates and you will iron the shiny side to the wrong side of your fabric, and then simply take and you'll trim these up using the template as your guide, 1/4 inch along each edge. Just like this. So what I did next was I put a brown star on top of a red one, right sides together. And then all I did was sew right along the template, not going into the seam allowance. Just start at the corner of your template and sew to the other end of your template, like this. Once that's done, you're going to open it up. I press towards the brown, finger press towards the brown, and you're going to make 2 of those units, like I have here. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put this on top, right sides together, line things up. Because you've got the opposing seams, they nest in really nicely. And then again, you're just going to sew from one corner of your template to the other. What you'll get then is 1/2 a star, like this. And what you're going to want to do is iron all of your seams in the same direction. So you'll have this. So for each of your 2 red and brown, should say for each of your red and brown color combinations, you'll be making 2 of these sections, and then again you'll put these right sides together. The seams should nest nicely, and you'll just stitch right along the template. Once your stars are completed, you can take them and place them in the center of each of the background squares and pin them in place. We won't be appliquing them at this point because there are stems that we'll be adding next month that will need to be appliqued in place first. If you're feeling that you would like to go ahead and start appliquing, you're certainly welcome to work on the outside corner squares. And if you look in the directions under step number 8, it will tell you to cut 4 8.5 inch squares. I cut mine at 9.5 inches, and then found the center. I pinned my stars in place, and I needle turned them after I removed the freezer paper. This is not required or part of the pattern for this month, but I know as an appliquer, it's fun to have something to work on in your spare time. So feel free to work on that if you would like. Thank you for your time today. Since we can't meet with you in the shop personally, we appreciate you taking the time to try this virtual class with us. I look forward to meeting with you all during our Zoom meeting on Thursday, June 4th at 10:30. See you then.